This is Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Good morning, up to Tuesday now, September the 26th. I'm Ray Collins. Glad you're with us. Early risers out there. Let's get to John Scalzi now and check on that Tuesday forecast. Yesterday you had mentioned that the hurricane going up the coast was providing us some drier air. Still the case?
Yes, it is. We're going to see a less than average rain chance again today. Will there be a few scattered showers around? Yes, like yesterday, there will be a few, but much fewer than we would normally see on a normal day. I think we'll probably see that dry spell last for a couple more days before we start to moisten things up once again. But you pay for that. You pay for the less rainfall with more heat, and certainly it was a warm one yesterday afternoon. We have Maria, a weakening storm lifting northward. It's now just barely hanging on to hurricane status. A few scattered showers out in Gulf waters and a few down to the south, but otherwise a dry start to the morning. That'll be the case, I think, through the morning hours into the early afternoon, then about a 10%. That's it, if that, chance of showers. Later in the day, daytime highs again top out near 90. Complete forecast in just a few.
All right, John, checking the first alert traffic right now. Very quiet so far in Manatee County. Not an issue to report at this point. Farther south, we see a little blip on the screen there where 41 bends toward the bayfront. Perhaps some construction cones there. And farther south, a little thing there on the Clark Road extension at State Road 72 in the westbound lanes as it heads toward 75. We'll watch that and have our next traffic update in about 15 minutes. Our top story, a person on the beach found a body washed ashore on Manasota Key. Our Rick Adams has the story from southern Sarasota County.
Well, at this time, we don't have very many details. What we do know is the body was found on this beach, shocking a lot of folks. It was a day some beachgoers at Manasota Beach will never forget. On Monday, they stumbled upon a dead body of a man that washed ashore. For some people hanging out around the beach area, this was very surprising.
It's absolutely horrible. I think it's insanity. You know, I mean, how often does something like that happen?
The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office says the body that was found is either a white or Hispanic male between 35 and 55 years old. When his body was found, he was wearing only shorts and a backpack.
Initial reaction is scared. I wouldn't want to have that. We're on these beaches all the time, so it's scary.
Detectives are currently working on identifying the man and then notifying family members. And as soon as we receive more information, including the identity of the man, we'll certainly pass it along to you. Reporting from Manasota Beach, I'm Rick Adams, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
And now to the north, one man is dead, 2 Palmetto officers on paid leave after a deadly shooting at a cemetery yesterday. 32-year-old Anthony Robinson was shot and killed at the Old Memphis Cemetery. Police say Robinson fired shots into his father's home earlier in the day. His father called police and officers began pursuing Robinson. He drove off but crashed his car and ran into the cemetery with a handgun. Police say Robinson fired shots at them. They returned fire and killed him. A neighbor who knew Robinson said she heard the gunshots.
What woke me up out my sleep, we heard that it was just that loud. Me and my husband both, and my husband said, get down on the floor. We got down on the floor, you know, because we didn't know where it was all coming from, you know.
The police chief says Robinson had a criminal record but would not release further details. A search is on in Manatee County for the person who held up a Domino's on Lockwood Ridge Road. An employee was sweeping near the back door and the robber came in with a knife and took cash from the drawer and ran out the back door. The robber is described as a white male, 6'2", 250 pounds, with a white shirt and a white face covering. If you have information, please contact the Manatee County Sheriff Department. Trial is now underway for a former Sarasota County Sheriff's deputy charged with attempted murder. Jury selection began yesterday in the case against Frank Bybee. He is facing 20 felony charges, including for attempted murder. They say he allegedly befriended an elderly woman, then stole her money and then tried to kill her. Bybee's defense claims that she had a history of mental health issues, including emails, where she threatened to kill herself. Bybee has pleaded not guilty. Jury selection should take the next few days in Sarasota County. Happening today, Governor Rick Scott will visit Bradenton to discuss the opioid epidemic. He'll make a major announcement at the Bradenton Police Department. Remarks are set for 9:30 a.m. We'll have a report on ABC 7 at noon, also on Facebook and on mysuncoast.com. An update now from Puerto Rico, where millions of residents are still without power in the wake of Hurricane Maria. Making matters worse, those with local connections here on the Suncoast are unable to reach loved ones in the path of the storm. That hurricane damaged almost all the cell phone towers there.
I know many people that is living in the States are worried about not hearing from their families, and the reason for that is that communication towers are down.
AT&T is trying to help those get in touch with relatives. Enter the cell phone number of the AT&T customer and then enter your number. And then when that person is able to connect to a wireless network, AT&T will let them know someone is trying to contact them from your phone. Governor is trying to deliver an extra 10,000 tarps for Hurricane Irma victims in Florida. The plastic will help patch damaged roofs. The state and federal government has already passed out over 100,000 tarps. Irma struck Florida 2.5 weeks ago. Flood insurance claims continue to flood the state of Florida. Some 17,000 claims already, and more are expected. About 4,000 claims are from the Florida Keys, hit hard by Irma. As for local numbers, there have been 295 flood insurance claims in Sarasota and Manatee County. Florida Keys tourism experts say they will officially reopen for business on Sunday. Hurricane Irma destroyed many homes and businesses there. But Key Largo and Key West were the least impacted by Irma, but some tourist spots are still closed. You want to call ahead to see if your hotels or attractions are open. Some of Florida's national and state parks could take weeks or longer to reopen after Hurricane Irma. The National Park Service sent about 380 workers to 15 parks in Irma's path in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and the Caribbean. The most common issues: downed trees, damaged buildings, and flooded roads and paths. The Gulf Coast Visitors Center at the Everglades City entrance to the Everglades National Park could be closed for months. Other Florida national parks either closed or partially closed include Biscayne National Park and Dry Tortugas National Park. Bradenton's DeSoto National Memorial just reopened last Friday. Happening today, students will finally learn how many days left to make up in Manatee County due to Irma. The Manatee County School Board plans to discuss whether students need to make up 4 days of school. More than a dozen schools served as shelters during the storm. District officials canceled classes for 6 days to clean up after the storm. As for Sarasota County, the superintendent there announced last week that public schools do not need to make up the days due to the added half hour of instruction each day. The World Rowing Championship continues today, and local students help welcome the world with a series of murals around the parking lot area. Our Haley Wilgus has that story.
This artwork, I am really surprised by how it came out, and I couldn't have done it without my art teacher.
Fifth grader Alejandra Estrada collaborated with 2 other artists and Philippi Shores Elementary art teacher Petey Brown on this piece highlighting Germany.
We researched the country, and then the piece we did on Germany was actually a little bit of glue with water and colored tissue paper, which my dear Alejandra here was a master at.
Schools from all over the Suncoast contributed to this Embracing Our Differences exhibit. Each team of students was assigned to depict a country participating in the World Rowing Championships.
I would love to learn more about every country. That's probably one thing I would be doing for my life. And it was so fun being here.
USA! USA! Not only did the students get to see their art, now displayed larger than life, but they also caught a few races.
It was amazing to see people competing on it, and obviously USA was one of, I think, for the girls, so it was a very fun experience with my class.
These field trips were coordinated through a program called Adopt a Team. 6,000 students will visit Nathan Benderson Park over 3 days and meet rowers from the countries they've been studying.
The athletes are so grateful that they took the time to learn about them and create this art piece to represent them. The Australian team actually said that they want to buy the art piece that was created by the students and put it in their training facilities back home in Australia, so that's really, really cool.
Special Events and Programming Manager Stephanie Manzano says the key message of this initiative is celebrating diversity.
We're welcoming the world, and we want to teach these young students, since they're so impressionable, that they should welcome the world as well.
The World, now their outdoor classroom for a day right here in Sarasota. Haley Wilgus, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
It's beautiful artwork all around the parking lot over by the mall.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's a nice sentiment too to put forward. So
it is.
It's
the
good
students
stuff.
are forced or have to or get to learn about the respective countries they're profiling, and everyone wins.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
We have some beautiful weather again shaping up for us today. You want to get out there and support the rowers? I think it looks like it's going to be just fine to do that. We'll talk about the forecast in a sec.
All right, good. Also, first alert traffic, and our Linda Carson shows us some local areas with historical significance in this edition of A Place We Call Home. And later in the hour, the latest on Hurricane Maria's destructive path.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-683-9262.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up, because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
A current air temperature coming in at 73 degrees. We have a lot of blue sky out there, a lot of starshine. We have 73-degree dew point as well. So the temperature and dew point are exactly the same. When that happens, you get high relative humidity. We're at 100% relative humidity right now. Pressure is at 29.98. Forecast for today calls for another warm one currently across the region. 75 degrees Wauchula, Arcadia at 76, 74, Myakka, Parrish at 73. And then in Bradenton, 74 degrees, Venice at 78, and Boca Grande coming in at 82. Not a whole lot of rainfall across the peninsula currently. The review of the last Several hours during the overnight showed a few showers building down to the south, a few thunderstorms as well ongoing in the very southern tip of the state where moisture is a little bit thicker. But most of the state of Florida is under the influence of some drying air aloft that is reducing rain chances. Locally, we've got a few scattered showers over in Highlands County, but other than that, the whole area is clear of any kind of showers this morning. I don't expect to see much in the way of any kind of rainfall around. We have a little upper level low that continues to spin around. That's helping to draw in some moisture across our region, and the subsiding air around what is left of Maria continues to also help provide a lot of the deep south and the Florida Peninsula with some reduced rain chances today. Maria is barely hanging on to hurricane force status. If it loses another couple miles an hour, it's a tropical storm. And in fact, we have tropical storm warnings up for the extreme eastern parts of North Carolina, the Outer Banks of North Carolina. They could see a little bit of a storm surge issue there, maybe a foot or two, maybe on the extreme eastern parts of the state. But it's not going to be a big deal for North Carolina, luckily, because the system is weakened, because it's going over cooler waters, because it's eventually heading right out to sea, picked up by a trough of low pressure and ejected away from the United States, which will be a very good thing. For us, we continue to enjoy a period of some slightly drier weather. And by drier, I mean a rain chance of maybe 10%. That's it for a couple more days. Of course, if you don't get those cooling showers in the afternoon, if you have a lack of cloud cover, you get the heat. And the heat is still, the sun is still pretty high in the sky. So we get daytime high temperatures that top out pretty close to 90. Fewer than average storms, a warm afternoon, mostly sunny skies will prevail. Two storms we're watching in the tropics right now, of course, Maria and Lee, neither one of which is going to have terribly large impacts on the United States. Certainly no impacts whatsoever on the state of Florida. Now, Lee is a pretty good storm. It's got 100-mile-an-hour winds, Category 2 storm lifting to the north and to the east, but it'll eventually be kicked, or to the west, but it'll eventually be kicked back out to the northeast. Maria, just as I said, barely hanging on to a hurricane status, Category 1 right now, and forecast to lift northward. By tomorrow, I think, we'll start to see it moving back out to sea. And then with Lee, it too will follow basically the same path, being picked up and sent back out into open waters of the Atlantic. For today, boating, nice day for boating. West wind coming in at about 10 knots this afternoon, switching a little bit more northerly during the overnight hours. 10-knot wind should give you a light chop with 2-foot seas. Very nice day for boating. Over the next several days, daytime highs stay warm. Thanks to all the sunshine, about 90 degrees will do it. 10% chance of showers for the next couple of days. And then as we head into the weekend, we'll lower the daytime temperatures a few degrees, mostly because of increased cloud cover and scattered showers on the increase. Back to you, Ray.
All right, thank you, John. Checking our first alert traffic now as you awaken on this Tuesday morning. Manatee County, so far so good. Checking farther south now into Sarasota. You'll see some delays along the Bayfront and also at the 41-301 fork in the road. Clark Road showing some early buildup there as you head east away from 41. Also South County 41 northbound, some issues there. Nothing major to report at 5:18 on your Tuesday morning. Time for a place we call home. Here is ABC 7's Linda Carson.
The house at 613 Venice Avenue takes your breath away. Current owners, Kurt and Tommy Whitaker, invited us in for a tour.
We're in the front hall. There are a lot of doors around here.
Yeah, there's a total of 16 doors on the front level here in the house, all to create cross ventilation, right, during the warm months. And this is the front door where guests would come in. They would come into the big hallway and then step down and through into that courtyard.
And straight ahead down the hall.
There's two more rooms. You're going into the living room, which is an original sunken living room, and then came what was considered a library.
The house was built in 1927 by the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers.
This house was supposed to be for a vice president, and then the stock market crash and the Great Depression. So the house sat empty for 3 years.
The first owner bought it in 1930.
The first owner was Fitzhugh William Hansel and his wife Florence Owen Hansel. And while they were Americans, he traveled abroad first as a young soprano singer, mostly in Italy, and then later, as he grew up and his voice deepened, he became a booking agency out of New York City.
His clients were top entertainers like Isadore Duncan and Caruso.
In his late 40s, early 50s, founded what was called Columbia Concerts Corporation, and that was a group of producers in New York City that came together to put on Broadway productions. And that group then got into radio and began to do productions for radio, and they ended up, at the end of the day, that turned into the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And although the family only used it as a winter residence, they had a staff of 4.
They had 2 live-in maids. The ladies wore French uniforms. We have photos of them. You had a chauffeur/butler, and you had a houseboy.
Tommy found amazing old pictures of the house in the attic. The house is large, over 5,500 feet. 1,200 of that is hallways. Despite its historical significance, it could legally be torn down. But the Whitakers are passionate about preserving and protecting it.
If we don't protect our history, just like a Polaroid, it fades away.
The house also has one of the first elevators in the area. It was installed when the house was first built back in 1927, and it still works today. Linda Carson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
I love that history. Thank you, Linda Carson. Still ahead in Good Morning Suncoast, a Levi's jacket with a smart sleeve. We'll tell you how much this can cost you. And at 5:30, the latest on the growing tensions between North Korea and the rest of the world.
The kitchen is where life happens. Minnesota Flooring now offers a wide variety of beautiful quality craft-made cabinetry to make sure the heart of your home reflects your style. Visit us today.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812. 800-738-9812.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery?
Sure.
We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Here's a live picture from the Bradenton Police Department where 4 hours from now, Governor Rick Scott will make a major announcement on the opioid crisis on the Suncoast and also statewide. Real issue here. He'll address that, and we'll be there at 9:30 this morning along the waterfront in downtown Bradenton. There's our social media contacts. Feel free to stop by the Ray Collins ABC 7 page. Some recent photos from the rowing competition I uploaded and also some other comments, so check that out, and also Jacqueline and John's page as well. Welcome back, 5:24 on this Tuesday morning. We'll check John's forecast in a few seconds, but first, the GPS in your smartphone is about to get even more accurate. ABC's Candace Gibson and Diane Macedo have details in this morning's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, your phone's GPS is about to get smarter.
A navigation chip manufacturer is starting to make one that is accurate to within 1 foot. The chips now in our phones are only accurate to within 16 feet.
Broadcom says the new chip will start appearing in phones next year. And no need to wait for that perfect sky when you're taking a picture on Snapchat. A new feature will allow users to add sunsets, rainbows, and other elements to their photos.
The sky filters will activate as an option when you point your cameras upward. Then you just swipe to find the effect you want. And finally, a new jean jacket from Levi's features a smart sleeve. It allows you to control your smartphone by a Bluetooth app.
Tapping or swiping lets you control your music and have messages read, among other options. The price is $350, but will it tailor the sleeves? Usually too long.
That would be nice.
Those are your Tech Bites.
Tech Bites, brought to you by Neutrogena.
Oh, look. Another anti-wrinkle cream in no hurry to make anything happen. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair works in just 1 week with the fastest retinol formula available. It's clinically proven to work on fine lines and wrinkles. 1 week? That definitely works. Rapid Wrinkle Repair. And for dark spots, Rapid Tone Repair. Neutrogena. See what's possible.
When you have a cold, stuff happens. Shut down cold symptoms fast with maximum strength Alka-Seltzer Plus liquid gels.
It's here, Kohl's lowest prices of the season. Prices so low, no coupons needed. Get women's tops just $14.99. Flush throws only $9.99. And kitchen electrics are just $4.99 after rebate. Plus get Kohl's Cash. Wednesday through Sunday, only at Kohl's.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-307-2040 now and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-307-2040 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-307-2040.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, restaurant guide, and more. Go to mysuncoast.com/dining.
This half hour on Good Morning Suncoast, tracking Maria as she heads up the coast, the latest on evacuations. Anthony Weiner sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for what he did on his cell phone, and with whom. And the latest from the NFL, where many players are taking on President Trump. Those stories and more right now on Good Morning Suncoast.
Live from the ABC 7 studios, this is Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Good morning, 5:30 on the dot right now, September the 26th. I'm Ray Collins. Stephanie Roberts will join us about half an hour, as she will all week at the 6 o'clock hour. And John, a pretty good week for the rowing races. Pretty dry out there and hot too, though, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's going to be warm yesterday, 90 degrees most everywhere, a couple places 92. I think we'll see the same sort of thing again today. Yeah, there'll be a few scattered showers around. I think even fewer than yesterday, and there weren't many around yesterday. So a less than average rain chance day. Maria continues to spin, just barely hanging on to hurricane status with the strongest winds well offshore. It continues to lift northward and drawing down some slightly drier air for us. That will tend to kind of bring a very nice blue sky to the area for most of the day. A few scattered showers down on the southern tip of the state. In fact, Naples at this hour seeing a thunderstorm. I think thunderstorms will be hard to find around here this afternoon. Maybe one might pop up. Otherwise, daytime high tops out warm. Once again, coming in around 90. Complete forecast for you in just a few.
All right, talk to you soon, John. Checking first alert traffic right now. 301 showing some early buildup northbound heading toward downtown Bradenton. Otherwise, pretty good in Manatee County. Farther south now, a little blip on the screen. 41 northbound as you get past the 301 fork in the road. And farther south, all clear in southern Sarasota County at 5:31 on your Tuesday morning. Topping our news this half hour, Hurricane Maria moving up the coast now, causing evacuations in North Carolina and heading toward the northeast. ABC's Lana Zach has the latest.
From the air, you can see the extraordinary destruction inflicted by Hurricane Maria on Puerto Rico. Houses clutching at the sides of cliffs after mudslides ripped the ground from underneath their foundations. The island's governor says it is a humanitarian disaster for all of the 3.4 U.S. citizens on the island.
It's not a neighborhood no more. All the palm trees are down, the trees broke. At night you can't feel the air because there's nothing, there's no wind. It's horrible, there's no water, electricity.
At the San Juan airport, residents and tourists wait for days, hoping for a plane and a lifeline.
All I want to do is get home. And here I am fighting my life because my incident is my life. And they don't have no ice here. They don't have anything to help me keep my incident safe.
People are running out of food. They're fighting. I just went to the bathroom. In the bathrooms, they have water all over the floor because people are trying to take baths here, or, you know, it's really, really survival mode right now.
While here in the continental U.S., preparations for Maria are underway in North Carolina. Tourists told to evacuate.
They need to get out as quickly as they can. We could start to see roads impassable and flooding, so they need to be going now.
Maria, the latest in a succession of devastating hurricanes to affect the United States. And as President Trump says they are currently assessing the needs in Puerto Rico, his response is increasingly coming under fire as the situation there is worsening. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
Other news now, the White House is on the defensive after North Korea's foreign minister accused President Trump of declaring war. The accusation followed a tweet made by President Trump over the weekend, and North Korea says it has now been given the green light to defend itself against the U.S. Both the State Department and the White House have denied that any declaration of war has been made.
We've not declared war on North Korea, and frankly, the suggestion of that is absurd.
The ongoing war of words between the two countries turned to action over the weekend when the U.S. military flew bombers in international airspace over waters east of North Korea. Republicans are scrambling to win support for their latest version of a bill to repeal and replace Obamacare. Look at this. Hundreds of protesters interrupted a Senate Finance Committee meeting on Capitol Hill yesterday. The meeting was recessed while demonstrators were removed. The measure appears to have lost too much support to pass. Among those voting against it now, two of the president's former rivals during the campaign, Senators Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and now Senators John McCain and Susan Collins also against it. By the way, a new poll shows most Americans are also against it. Look at this. The CBS poll will show us that 1 in 5 Americans approve of the latest health care bill. Happening today, a big election in Alabama as voters head to the polls in the Republican Senate primary there. Incumbent Luther Strange is facing off with former state Chief Justice Roy Moore. The winner fills the Senate seat vacated by Attorney General Jeff Sessions. President Trump says Strange is the better man for the job, but some key allies disagree. In fact, former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon is backing Moore. Bannon says that Strange has a troubling tie with the GOP leader, Mitch McConnell. Well, this story certainly has caused some buzz. A federal judge in New York sentenced Anthony Weiner to 21 months in prison for what he did on his cell phone and with whom. The case centered on Weiner's lewd sexual conduct with a girl he knew was 15 years old. He pleaded guilty in May. Prosecutors were asking for 27 months in prison. Weiner's attorneys argued the former New York mayoral candidate and congressman was not a sexual predator, but rather a sick man who has made stunning progress through counseling. Uber is apologizing to customers in London and also filing suit to change the city's mind about banning them. Uber's new CEO issued the apology in a London newspaper. He wrote that while Uber revolutionized transportation in the city, they also got some things wrong along the way. The city's transport authority says that Uber was not fit and proper to operate in London. They did not like the company's approach to reporting serious crimes, and there was apparently an issue with a piece of software Uber uses that prevents officials from monitoring the app. Well, Uber plans to challenge the move in court. The world of sports is making news these days after the reaction to President Trump's comments about football players not standing for our national anthem. Now even some former supporters are locking arms with opponents. ABC's Alex Stone has the latest from Arizona.
A sign of solidarity on the gridiron in Glendale. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones linking arms and kneeling with his players prior to kickoff of their Monday Night Football matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. The solidarity followed a whirlwind Sunday in which players across the league expressed their opinions after President Trump, defiant and unapologetic, sparked a national firestorm with these words.
When somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired.
The president saying it was not about race, but tonight even some of his own friends joining the list of critics, including New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady.
I certainly disagree with, what he said and thought it was just divisive.
But this image of Steelers lineman Alejandro Villanueva going viral too. The Army vet who served 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan could be seen just outside the tunnel on Sunday, his hand over his heart while his teammates stayed behind. His jersey selling more than any other player in the NFL now. But tonight, Villanueva clarifying his actions, saying he didn't mean to throw his teammates under the bus.
Essentially, what we can get out of this is that we butchered our plan to sort of have a response for the national anthem and respect everyone's opinions.
When asked about the president's comments about NFL players who protest, the White House stood by his remarks, saying it's always appropriate for the president to defend the flag. Alex Stone, ABC News, Glendale, Arizona.
Meantime, back on Capitol Hill, Congressperson Sheila Jackson Lee criticized President Trump's comments about NFL players, and watch this. She took the knee on the House floor. The Houston congressperson said to suggest anyone who kneels down should be fired is racist. President Trump said his opposition to the protests have nothing to do with race, but about the respect for America and respect for the flag. Lawsuits for negligence are being filed against a South Florida nursing home where 10 patients died in the heat during a hurricane power outage. After Irma, 93-year-old Miguel Franco was among those who died after police say the home in Hollywood Hills failed to evacuate residents who suffered for days in the heat with no air conditioning. His wife is still in serious condition. The suit is one of several actions filed since the tragedy. It alleges negligence by the nursing home. Police are looking at the deaths as part of a criminal investigation. More than 1 million Florida homeowners and renters have registered for federal assistance after Hurricane Irma. The Florida Division of Emergency Management says the daily number of applicants is still increasing. At least 9 counties each had more than 50,000 people register for individual assistance. A FEMA spokesman says everyone who feels they may have been entitled to assistance should apply.
You may be able to get assistance from FEMA whether you have insurance or not. Every household is handled on a case-by-case basis because everyone's exact situation is unique. So registering with FEMA will get you into that process.
The easiest way to register for FEMA assistance is by going to their website, which is disasterassistance.gov, or using the FEMA app on a smartphone. Well, some good post-storm news for drivers. After reaching a 3-year high, gas prices are going down. Prices shot up when Hurricane Harvey struck refineries along the Gulf Coast. Those prices then stayed high because of demand after Hurricane Irma. Well, now things are getting back to normal. Prices at the pump are starting to drop. According to AAA, in fact, gas prices in the southeast should drop another 5 to 10 cents this week alone. If you're a Comcast customer who lost service during the storm, you might be able to get a reimbursement. Customers can fill out an online form to be considered for a one-time credit for cable, phone, or internet services lost during and after the storm. Customers can ask for a suspension of service, a credit for an upcoming bill, or to have their equipment replaced altogether. Customers should get a response within 2 days. The decision to suspend highway tolls before, during, and after Irma cost the state of Florida $45 million in revenue. The state lifted tolls on September 5th to help speed up evacuations and relief efforts. But according to Florida's Turnpike system, the estimated $3 million a day impact is not expected to hinder their operations. Things like toll suspensions during a hurricane are taken into consideration during the budgeting process in Tallahassee. That was a strange sensation to drive through the tolls. I was driving back from Tampa and drove right through the Sunshine Skyway tolls. No problem there.
Like you had an Easy Pass.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, which I've been meaning to get for 10 years now, by the way. Do you have an Easy Pass?
We do, yes, yes.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, we don't use them that very often, but,
You know the
once in a while.
challenging thing? When you're going somewhere else in the state and you don't have an Easy Pass, and they charge you not only for the toll, but for a service fee to pay the toll. You get it in the mail a few weeks later.
Really? Did not know that.
Yes. I'll look into that one.
Wow. That doesn't seem right.
I know it doesn't.
Anyway, we have some showers across the region. You know, a few maybe, but drier than average for today. We'll talk about that in a second.
We'll have John's forecast, also first alert traffic, and how to get the most out of your vegetables. We'll show you some cooking tips that'll get you the most nutrition next in Health Smart.
What to do when your heating or air conditioning needs service or, heaven forbid, replacement? Call Air Now today. We've been serving Sarasota and Manatee County since 1946. We offer $49.95 tune-ups, lease or finance options, and remember, service today or it's free.
This is an important medical announcement. Talcum powder products from some of the best-known brands have been linked to ovarian cancer. Any woman who has used a talcum powder product and has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that women with long-term use of talcum powder, including baby powder for feminine hygiene, can increase the risk of contracting ovarian cancer. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to women who should have been warned about the risks of ovarian cancer with long-term use of talcum powder. Call the Talcum Powder Hotline. If you or a loved one used talcum powder and were diagnosed or died from ovarian cancer, you must call now.
Call 800-570-7599. 800-570-7599.
Tell me how the day unfolds. Traffic fast, or traffic slow. This feeling is so fine, I gotta say. You're just a touch away. You're everywhere, got you everywhere. Everywhere I go, whoa, go. Everywhere I go, whoa, everywhere I
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-683-9262.
Watch your Suncoast News at 6 on your streaming device for a chance to win a $50 Visa. It's easy. Just watch weekdays at 6 for the word of the week. Then enter the word at mysuncoast.com for your shot at a $50 Visa. We'll pick the winner each week. Good luck.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Taking a look at the current conditions outside, it's a kind of a pleasant morning, I guess. 73-degree air temperature. The only thing is dew point is a match at 73, so that gives you 100% relative humidity. Feels kind of thick out there, I guess, but still the air temperature is pretty pleasant, so it's not too terribly bad. A lot of starshine out there, clear skies, not much in the way of any kind of cloud cover across the region. 76 degrees in Wauchula, Arcadia coming in at 77. Mayaca, you've got 75. That's not bad. Looking at Northport coming in at 78, so is Punta Gorda. Boca Grande, a little warmer there. It's 81 rather, 72 in Bradenton, Sarasota at 73, and Parrish at 74. Across the region today, we have some fairly quiet conditions, except in the southern tip of the state where moisture is a little bit thicker. We've got some ongoing thunderstorm activity down there. Naples seeing a thunderstorm in progress right now. Otherwise, locally, everything is very quiet. Not seeing much happening here, except in Highlands County, where there are a few areas of drizzle. That's about it. I think your morning commute should be rain-free, and in fact, I think the commute home today should probably be rain-free as well. We have a lot of dry air in place, so most of us will not see much in the way of any kind of rainfall today or tomorrow or really even the day after. That dry air indicated here by the tan contours is really all over the state of Florida, and that's going to limit the number of showers that we get. We have an expansive area of high pressure sitting over the Ohio Valley, stretching down into areas of the deep south, providing quiet conditions. And then we have an upper level low kind of spinning around parts of North Florida. That's kind of cut off from all the other flows in the atmosphere, and it's just going to meander there until it washes out. And then we have, of course, Maria, which is a weakening hurricane, but it's still hanging on to hurricane status, but nevertheless, it is weakening. And then a trough of low pressure producing very heavy rainfall in parts of the open plains. You put all that together, and it gives you a nice flow, light flow out of the north, drawing down drier air, and that's what's reducing our rain chances. Maria will continue to spin and open up and decrease in intensity as we progress through the next several days, heading out into the open Atlantics, but brushing the outer ranks of North Carolina. Fewer than average storms for us today. A warm afternoon, mostly sunny skies will top it out warm with a daytime high coming in close to 90. On the water would be a nice place to be. West wind at about 10 knots today will give you a light chop. And about a 10%, that's it, chance of showers for today and tomorrow. And Thursday, only about a 20% chance. As we head into the weekend, we'll be able to up the rain chance back to about 40% to 50%, which is about where we would be for this time of year normally. Back to you, Ray.
Thank you, John. Checking first alert traffic right now as you awaken on this Tuesday morning. Some buildup there you'll find on US 301, not too far from State Road 70 in the northbound lanes. Otherwise, we'll check farther south now into Sarasota County, and it looks like we've got a problem there on 301 southbound around 10th Street of all places near our studios. Also, Clark Road still showing some delays in the eastbound lane as you get away from US 41. South County all clear at 5:49 on your Tuesday morning. Well, it is always good to eat your vegetables, we know that, but how to cook your vegetables also can make a big difference in their nutrition level. Here are some tips from Mary Maloney.
Preparing vegetables rather than eating them raw can maximize their health benefits. The process of cooking breaks down tough outer layers and cell structures on many vegetables, making it easier for your body to absorb the nutrients. So, what are some of the best ways to prepare veggies? Steam, don't boil. Steaming is a great way to prepare vegetables because it keeps cooking time, temperature, and amount of liquid to a minimum. Boiling vegetables causes water-soluble vitamins to leach into the water, effectively wasting them. When in doubt, microwave. Microwaving uses little to no water and heats veggies quickly from within, preserving nutrients like vitamin C. An exception to this rule is cauliflower. Microwaving cauliflower causes a high loss of nutrients, according to a 2009 study. Sauté, don't fry. During deep fat frying, fat penetrates the food and dehydrates the vegetables. Sautéing maximizes flavor. And another study shows that sautéing with olive oil increases absorption of phytonutrients like phenols and carotenes. Griddling, baking, and roasting. Contrary to grilling, griddling uses a pan with raised edges and is normally done on the stove or in the oven. Veggies griddled with a tiny bit of olive oil can develop intense flavor and be quite healthy. Baking and roasting are hit or miss health-wise and depend on the vegetable. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
Some good advice there. Still had your local daily news headlines. And this chainsaw artist got pretty creative when he carved up these trees. We'll have the story after this.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, A-N-D, services.com.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions. Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Just go do it. Go do it. If you're not in control, then who is? Live above the influence.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Watch your Suncoast News at 6 on your streaming device for a chance to win a $50 Visa. It's easy. Just watch weekdays at 6 for the word of the week. Then enter the word at mysuncoast.com for your shot at a $50 Visa. We'll pick the winner each week. Good luck.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, A-N-D, services.com.
Here's a live picture of the Bradenton Police Department, where Governor Scott is expected to make an announcement at 9:30 this morning about the opioid epidemic in Florida that's also particularly hit hard in Manatee County. We'll find out more about what he plans to do next to solve this issue, or at least chip away at it, at a press conference at 9:30. And it is one of our top headlines as you wake up this morning. But first off, a person on Minnesota Beach found a body in the sand. It's a male, around 40 years old, and that's all that's been released so far by the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. Jury selection is underway against a former Sarasota County Sheriff deputy. Frank Bybee has pleaded not guilty to 20 felonies, including attempted murder. And as we mentioned, Governor Scott will be in Bradenton for a morning announcement on the opioid crisis. That takes place at 9:30 at the Bradenton Police Department. And finally, a high school principal in Casper, Wyoming found a creative and spirited way to commemorate the loss of some cherished trees. The principal, Shannon Harris, reached out to an artist for a way to preserve their memory and also boost school spirit along the way. She found a sculpture artist named Ken Davis, who came from Colorado, to transform those old trees into a Mustang, which is the school's mascot. Used just a chainsaw to do it. His work consists of chainsaw carvings of animals and nature scenes. You can find more of his work at the site logcrafter.com. That's tough work, because if you make a mistake, you can't exactly fix it very easily.
You start from the top.
Is that right? That's right.
I would think. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, you know, considering
yeah.
You think of a chainsaw as kind of a rough tool to create such a fine piece of art. Is pretty amazing.
I mean, they must have different sized chainsaws for different parts of the stump, I would think. I wonder. I don't know.
They certainly do have different sized chainsaws.
We'll solve that later. All right, more local headlines and Stephanie Roberts after this.